want to share a couple of stories. You could call it testimonies. A couple stories of things that have happened to me in my life. Please excuse the dogs in the background. They're breathing heavy and they're being really annoying. But a couple times in my life, I have been attacked by witches and warlocks. So call it whatever you want. This is a warning to those who are doing witchcraft against others. My hope for them is that they repent and realize that what they're doing is wrong. Because if you don't repent, there's no grace for that. There's no grace. You know where you're headed if you die without repenting. Okay. The first story is I was in my early 20s and I lived in Los Angeles, California. I worked on Melrose, which is the fashion hub. That's where all the trends start in Hollywood. Is out of a lot of the stores there on Melrose. And I worked for a friend who owned a store on Melrose. And I was her salesperson. And there was another person that worked there that she hired. And she was terrified of this person, might I say. She was terrified. And she didn't know how to get rid of this person. But anyways, he just kind of like ruled the store and did whatever he wanted because she was so afraid and couldn't get rid of him. And the reason why she couldn't get rid of him was because he was a warlock and he would use his spells and magic on people, and it worked. Well, he was stealing my sales. This was like the first day on the job, and he was stealing all my sales. And I was a pretty good salesperson. I worked in retail a long time, and I was a merchandising manager for Guess, and I have a lot of experience with fashion. And I was selling stuff like crazy, and he was stealing all my sales and getting commission for it. So I went up to him, and he did it right in front of me. It was blatant. It wasn't like he was being nonchalant about it or secretive. He would look right at me and do it. And I went up to him and looked him in the eyes, and I said, "You are stealing my sales. You need to stop." And he didn't like that. And he was glaring at me. And he started calling me names and blah, blah, blah. And then my boyfriend at the time was getting nervous. He thought he was going to end up in a fight with this guy. And this guy was a big dude. He was really tall. He was probably like 6'5". I don't know, maybe taller. He was really tall and big. And he kept glaring at me and pointing at me, and he was obviously saying a spell on me, and I just glared back at him, showing him that, look, I'm not going to back down from you. And when we went home that night, I prayed to God, told him the situation, asked for protection, and the next morning, my boss, who was the owner of the store, got a phone call that 5 large men broke into his apartment and beat the living crap out of him. And he had to be taken to the hospital. He was left for dead. He was like barely alive. And so we never heard from him again. So that's one story of a warlock trying to come against me. Another story was a friend that I had, and God wanted me to befriend her. She admitted to doing witchcraft, and I was trying to, I wasn't like really close with her, but we were good friends at work, and I was trying to be a witness of Jesus to her and trying to politely say, you probably shouldn't do that. She probably shouldn't be. She had told me she had cast spells on people and unalived people, which is murder. It's a murder in the eyes of God. It doesn't matter if it's witchcraft, it's still murder. Um, she told me she had done that, and then we both quit, went our separate ways for a little bit, and then she got a job somewhere else in a different salon, and then invited me to come there and work, and she was a manager there. But while I was there, she got kind of a hothead, and being a manager got to her. Like, she kind of got high and mighty, and it was a very hostile workplace. Like, the customers were just, I don't know what it was. I've never worked anywhere in my life where every single customer that came in the door was rude, and not just rude, but harassing rude. And I think it was just that area. Just, I don't know, the people there were not of good character in that surrounding area. It's weird. It's weird how that happens. But anyways, we were forced to work there with no air conditioning in the middle of a heat wave in Arizona. The temperature was 120 degrees outside, and we had to work there for like 2 weeks with no air conditioning, and it was getting ridiculous. And I have a heart condition. I don't struggle with it anymore, but at that time, I had a heart condition, and I hadn't had any surgeries for it or anything like that. And I just couldn't handle it. I said, you know what, I have a heart condition. I can't do this. And I walked out. And I mean, it wasn't just that, it was the rude customers. I'm just did not have a good feeling about being there. And so she was really offended that I left, but like really, really angry. Like, let me know how angry she was. It was like ridiculous angry. And I heard from the other employees there that she was going to get me, and she was going to use her spells on me. And a week later, the same person who said that she was saying this about me called me and told me that she was in the hospital with heart problems. Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't heard anything about her. I don't know her state. I don't know if she's still alive. I don't know. I don't know if she learned her lesson or repented. But my point here today is that don't play with witchcraft, because it does come back to you. All of it comes back to you. It is a universal law that witchcraft spells come back to you. Okay? God gives everybody a certain amount of time to repent. And if you don't repent by a certain time, then you don't get off. You can get off. You can get off of consequences. God is that good. You can get off of consequences if you repent quickly. If you are obediently, like, quick about it. If you're like very obedient, quickly repent, you can get out of consequences. God is merciful. But if it's taking a long time for you to repent, and you're mocking God and you're taking advantage of his mercy, you're going to meet your demise. It's going to be very bad. And when you die, you're going to go to hell, because you denied the power of God. You didn't repent. So I'm pleading with some people today. I know who you are. I'm not going to reveal it. Repent and do the right thing before it's too late. I hope you all have a good evening. Bye.